Wizard or Prophet presents a motorcycle gear review.
Hello, my children. Welcome back to the show, Wizard or Prophet. Today, because it's winter time, I thought it would be apt to talk about motorcycle safety. It's getting dark, it's getting wet. A lot of you guys who ride have put your bikes away. I ride year-round here in the Pacific Northwest because it's just rainy. I bought my motorcycles in the fall, and so therefore I've bought my motorcycle gear generally in the fall or winter. And so I want to talk about helmets. Now, when I first started riding 25 years ago, I didn't know a whole lot about helmets. I didn't get on the internet until 1993. And so I did some research, and you read all the motorcycle magazines. Back then we had motorcycle magazine. I'd get Motorcyclist or Cycle World, mostly Cycle World. Back then you get a subscription, for a year for about $8. And so you'd buy a subscription. And when that magazine came every month, you grabbed it, you went straight to the bathroom so you could read it. And then, I read it cover to cover. But the articles always talked about, what were the most popular helmets. Well, back then, as it is now, there's a plethora of helmets. Some of them I've never even seen before because our local shops don't carry them. But those that I did, it was generally the top two tiers back in the year 2000, 2001 were Arai and Shoei, two Japanese helmets manufacturers that were the top of the line. And that's what I went with. And like every new motorcyclist, especially when I started out riding a Harley, I didn't wear the little half helmets. I never have. I've been risk adverse. I want full protection. I've seen pictures of people's face gliding down the tarmac, and I just can imagine no chin bar. And I'm sorry, as magnificent as my beard is, my beard's not going to protect my face when you're sliding down the street. So I wear a full face helmet. I suggest you do too. We're not going to get in, whether you like to wear a helmet or not, that's up to you. I don't care. The studies have shown that it actually does protect your head. All the folklore around it, causing more head injuries is pure bunk. Helmets save lives. I wear a helmet. I recommend you do too. So anyway, I went down and got a black helmet. I think I can't remember where I ordered that black helmet from, but it was an Arai, and it was a Quantum F, I believe. And I don't have it anymore. I wish I did, because I'd like to have it up on my wall decorations as my first motorcycle helmet. Motorcycle helmets have a shelf life. I don't know if many people know that. And I personally, we're gonna look at some old helmets today. I don't know if there's actual studies out there. I've never researched it, whether there's studies out there, and I certainly can't afford to do it, with an old helmet compared to a new helmet and how they stack up, say 10 years later, 20 years later. Most helmet manufacturers recommend, including Arai and Shoei, that you use the helmet within 7 years after its manufacture date, and once you start wearing it, you should only wear it for about 5 years. And when I first got my first helmet, I didn't know that. Maybe I did, but I was too poor. These helmets are pretty expensive. And even back in 2000, my first helmet, I think it was around $300. I had this helmet, and I think I wore it for quite a long time, 6, 7 years. And it served me really well. I really enjoyed that helmet. And so we're going to talk about, I have all my other helmets since then. I've had Arai's and Shoei's. That's what I've had. And we'll look at one more helmet that I've bought for my kids. My kids don't ride often with me, and so I always cheap out on their helmet, because they're kids, If they die in a motorcycle accident, I don't have to take care of them anymore, right? I don't have to pay for their college, I don't have to pay for their wedding, I don't have to... Anyway, they didn't die, they survived to adulthood, so calm down, it's a joke. Let's go take a look at these helmets. I'm excited that you're here. Please like and subscribe. We are going to talk about mostly the differences between Shoei and Arai. Here we go. Now, there are lots of good choices for helmets out there. I tend to not buy helmets, and I never intend to buy helmets made in China. Now, granted, Chinese manufacturing process has gotten tremendously better over the years. Everything's made in China. This microphone I'm talking on is made in China. The camera this is being filmed on is made in China. The phone that you're watching this video on while sitting on the toilet was made in China. That's just how our modern economy works. We have to use that labor. And coincidentally, we're starting to see some production shift over to India. So you'll see a lot more stuff coming from India. We're starting to see, just like in Japan, after the war, started seeing the Japanese motorcycles come into, we're back in the 50s and 60s. I don't want to buy that Japanese junk. But in any case, and I say any case a lot, don't I? But in any case, Chinese manufacturing process has gotten better and better, but I still like the Japanese helmets. Japanese helmets are really, really nice. So this first helmet though is a HJC. This is my children's helmet. This is probably a 10-year-old helmet. This version is the CL16. I don't know what their current version is. You can see that it is pretty new inside there. The kids don't ride often with me, or didn't ride often with me, but it was a bright helmet. I think I let my son pick this out when he was little. I believe this one is made in Korea. It's a good helmet. The shield is easy to take off and on, but I can tell too, compared to the Arais and the Shoeis, that it is not as high quality. And maybe the new ones are. These generally come with vents. This one has a central vent up here. It's got the chin vents down here, which are always important. In the back, it has 2 passive vents. And up here, it has a couple more vents right up here that also, I believe, are passive. I don't wear this helmet, so I don't know much about it. It's been a good helmet, HJC. And I always tell people, buy the helmet that fits you best and that you can most afford. What's your head worth? What is your head worth? These are pretty expensive helmets these days. I'm not gonna lie. I was quite surprised when I went and bought a new helmet here in the last 5 years. So this is the second Arai I had. This one is a Quantum 2. And the neat thing about Arai is they cater to different head shapes. You can get a round oval, intermediate oval, and long oval head shapes. And apparently the vast majority of people in North America and Europe, intermediate oval is what most people have in the United States and in Europe. So you have 3 shell shapes. You have intermediate oval, long oval, and a round. And if I remember correctly, this one was a round, that one was intermediate oval, and Shoei's different. But a lot of people say, I tried on an Arai, I don't have an Arai shaped head. Well, they have 3 different shell types. I recently tried on all 3 shell types, and I can definitely feel a difference. Round shaped helmet, which currently in 2025 is the Quantum X. It definitely, I had lots of room here on the side of the helmet, and it was a little tight up here. I tried on a long oval, which is currently the Signet X, and the long oval was lots of room here and in the back and super tight on the sides. And then I went into an intermediate oval, which is their Contour X, their Regent X, and their Corsair X. And I'll talk about price points here in a bit, but essentially those fit me like phenomenally. Like I said, my original helmets were the Quantums, which were more round because that's what I thought I had, a round head. The intermediate oval is the one that fit me the best currently. But this again is the Quantum 2. It was a great helmet. I think I wore this helmet. And you'll notice something else. I graduated from black helmets to white helmets. And I did that because there was a study back in, I believe it was Australia, some 20 years ago, did visibility testing on helmets. And the vast majority of people saw the white helmets over any other color. And motorcycle helmets get wildly colors. I'll put some examples here on the screen. You can get all the kind of cool graphics that you can think of. Cartoon characters, movie characters, racing replicas, Almost anything that you want, you can get a plethora of colors. To me, those all look like camouflage. If I'm riding through a city and I've got 17 different colors on my helmet, it just looks like city camouflage to me. But I like the white, plain white helmets, you know, and the good guys wear white hats, right? What tends to happen with these is after I got this one, I started to, after about 6 or 7 years, I realized that I was supposed to change them out. And so that's what I started doing. I started following the recommendation of changing them out every 5 or 6 years. This particular helmet, you can see it is Snell certified to like 2005 standards or something like that. It is well worn inside. It is, you can tell I've put tens and tens of thousands of miles in there. Every single one of these helmets, the Arais and the Shoeis and the HJCs for that matter, all these linings can pop out for the most part. They all pop right out and you can clean and wash them. I tend to wear a buff or a helmet liner to keep the sweat out of it a little bit better. But these are good helmets. The neat thing about Arais are that they have developed this round shape. It's called the 75 shape. And it is designed to be like an egg. And the Arais are hand built in Japan. They are very, the outside is laid in this composite. Go on YouTube, look at how Arai helmets are made. There's probably 1,000 videos, but these are hand laid. The shell is super strong. I've seen people stand on them. The lining inside, you know, it looks like styrofoam. They put it in all at one piece, whereas in Shoei's and other helmet companies, they might have different pieces, but this is all one piece. They just shove it in there. All these vents and everything are designed to pop off. And the reason you have these little pods here is the same thing. You know, compared to like a Shoei, there's no pod there. Or the HJC, you can see helmets don't have these pods. And what they do is they cut into the helmet, they open the helmet up a little bit. Whereas on an Arai, they stick outside. And so to keep that shape, they add these little pods. And a lot of motorcyclists hate these. And I can definitely tell you they're a bit finicky, but once you know how to do it, it's, you know, it's just like riding a bike. You figure it out, you learn to do it. I don't change shields much. This helmet with the dark shield dates back to, I had LASIK eye surgery. And so I was not wearing glasses. Instead of wearing sunglasses under my helmet, I got a dark shield. My LASIK didn't last very long, like 6 or 7 years. And so I went back to wearing prescription sunglasses. It happens when you get old anyway. This was a great helmet. My second helmet after that, and when I bought this helmet, it cost $330. And I believe I bought it in 2008. And since I knew my size, I bought it online from an authorized dealer. This was my next helmet. This is an Arai Defiant. They no longer make this model, at least in the US. I don't know if they make it overseas. You probably can't see it on the camera. This is plain white. This is plain white. This is a diamond white, which means it's got sparklies in it. And the sparklies was an extra $10. This helmet was about $350 at the time. So I bought this one in 2008. Which means I kept my first helmet for almost 8 years. That's a long time to keep a helmet. But anyway, I bought this in 2008. It cost me back then $336. I then bought this one in 2014. Again, I kept it for seven years, or close to that, 6 years. I paid for this one $510. So my first one was about $300, $350. This was $336. And 6-7 years later, it bumped up to $510. That was quite a price increase. Now the Defiant X was designed for naked bike riding. My bikes always have windshields, but regardless, it didn't affect anything. This one, of course, has the ubiquitous eyebrow vents that Arai is famous for. It had pretty bold styling compared to, you know, This one, which is just this little chin vent, is just this little teeny flap. And this one had a little knob on it. That's what she said. It has the two vents, similar to this, with the two vents, little cat ear vents. It has on the rear, it has a closable and open vent right there. And it has the two passive vents. And again, this is a little bit different. It had this little spoiler on the back that covers that vent. It has the passive vents, and these are all designed to pop right off. It also has the vent coming out the bottom here. And you can see on the inside, these are very, very plush as well. Of course, this is very, very old at this point. The interesting thing about this helmet is it has this pull-down chin spoiler. So you can pull that up, and it keeps the wind popping up into your helmet. So that's very convenient, unless you have a 1.5 foot long beard, which I didn't at the time. This is also the first helmet that I got that came with a pin lock. If you don't know what a pin lock is, it is a little plastic secondary face shield that goes on the inside and keeps your face shield from fogging up. It works with varying degrees of success. When it gets super cold or it gets inundated with your breath or water, it will start fogging up just like any other shield. But this is the first one I had it. Now I put them in every single helmet. I love them. In 2020, so you know, we're moving along here. I went to go buy a new Arai, and the new Arais now, these versions of those Arais were $700, and I was like, okay, I paid $300, $330 for my first two. This bumped up to $500. Now it's $700. And I was just like, $700 for a helmet is a lot of money. Is my head worth $700? Well, when you're not making a whole lot of money, or you know, you've got other priorities, more likely, I just didn't feel like I could spend $700. However, the Shoei was around that $500 mark, and this was my next helmet. I bought this one at Cycle Gear. I went to go try it on because I'd never really looked at Shoei. I'd always been an Arai guy. And so this is the RF1400. It is a phenomenal helmet. It really is. It's a really good helmet, and they're still around that $500 price point. Central vent here. They've got two vents here that are not super easy to work with. They're slick. You have your typical chin vent down at the bottom. Actually, that button is to push it to go open up, because it's a very different kind of button compared, and I'll show you on the other ones. And you just have a simple thing right there. On the back, got your little spoiler, and it opens in the back. Actually, it's passive in the back. Sorry. It's passive in the back. And you can see, you know, of course, it's Snell and DOT approved, made in Japan. And this came with a chin spoiler. I took it out because of my beard. I've been wearing this for 5 years. I've been cross country in it. It's a mostly comfortable helmet. The things I didn't like about it, it was not as comfortable. I found these vents difficult to work with. When I'm wearing it, it feels like this is narrower, although it just might be a different way of looking at it. It felt like that the interior of the helmet, when my face is in here, that this was hanging down too low. And I don't know if that's really the case or not. Yeah, this seems to be up a little higher. So this goes right in, whereas this seems to hang down just a little bit. And just a little bit, you know, impairs your vision. You know, put your finger up just above your eye, just a little bit, and you can see, hey, I got a finger in my vision, you know, my sight. I've got a finger there. That's how this always felt to me, like there was just something hanging right there above my eyebrows that was distracting me. Had the pin lock. The pin lock never worked very well on this helmet. I don't know why. The other interesting thing you'll see about Shoei's and most other helmet manufacturers is the fact that the shape of the helmet is interesting. You know, it has this, and I've got currently have my Scala Rider Cardo communication device on there, but it goes up this weird shell shape here. It's got a ridge. Sorry, I'm not in camera. It's got this weird lip here, which made it difficult to put this on. It has a little ducktail bill right here. It's got a ridge here. It's got a ridge going across here. It's got the ridges built in here. So it's a very modern, you got ridges here along the front. It's hard to see that, but they are there. And it's a very modern looking helmet. It really is. It's a nice, it's a clean looking helmet. It's a good looking helmet. I enjoyed it okay, but the 5 years was up and I didn't wait 6 years or 7 years to get a new helmet. I was just like, I'm gonna get a new helmet. This has not been my favorite 5 years of having a lid on. You can see after 5 years, let's look at the interior of it. It's still okay after 5 years of sweat. It's not horrible. You know, there's starting to get a little bit of piling there on the neck roll. And it, of course, needs to be taken out and washed. But since I'm retiring it, I don't know if I'll do that or not. My other ones are still funky after all those years. But this is gonna be a backup helmet, and it will go up on my shelf. The 3 helmets. Again, I like the Arai over the Shoei. So I went helmet shopping again, which is the point of this video. And I went on and I tried on, again, I was going with Arai or Shoei. And I wasn't opposed to getting a new one of these, but I kind of wanted to go back to the Arai. I found a place online that sells the Arais much cheaper than you can get them at Cycle Gear. And it was a substantial discount. Of course, some of these little motorcycle shops around the country haven't figured out that they're supposed to charge sales tax either. And so, you know, I, as a dutiful citizen of my state, you know, go and report that myself when I buy something online, you know, to make sure that the government gets their fair share of all my hard-earned money. And so, of course, I always report those online purchases where they don't charge me tax. That was a substantial savings to buy a new helmet online. However, all they had was the Corsair for Arai. They had the Corsair, which is the Arai's top-of-the-line helmet, the Signet X, and the Quantum X. Now, I've had this Quantum and the previous Quantum, and then they discontinued the Quantum. They brought it back 7 years ago. Don't have the Defiant anymore. And so I went to my local Cycle Gear to try on helmets. And I tried on the top of the line Shoei, the X, I believe it's the X15. That was a fantastic helmet. It fit my head really, really well. It was $1,000. I next tried the Shoei, the one below this one, which I cannot remember the name of it. I will put it up on the screen. It fit pretty well, and all in with taxes, it was right at my budget of $500. So I really like that one. It felt better than this one. But then I went and tried on the Arais. And I tried on their entry-level helmet is the Arai Regent, and it has an intermediate oval shape similar to the Contour X and the Corsair X. And I liked it, but I liked the Corsair better. The new Quantum, like I said, my head didn't fit in it right. It was lots of room in the sides and no room in the front. And the Signet, I had lots of room in the front, no room in the sides. The Corsair fit my head like a glove. I was like, this is fantastic. Again, $1,000 helmet. But you could get it online, I found, for about $780. So now my budget's going up and I'm like, can I justify paying $780? But there was one more helmet they didn't have, and that was the Corsair. And the Corsair is in the same line as the Signet and the Quantum, but it's an intermediate oval instead of the round or the long oval shape. And so I had to drive quite a bit, about 200 miles, to find a shop that had one in stock. And that's what I ended up with. So this is kind of an unboxing, but kind of not, because I had to to take it out of the box to try it on, of course. This is the Contour X. That's what I ended up with. It's funny, they did not have a box, so this isn't the original box it came in, because it says it's black frost. But see, there's a 5-year warranty on it. It has the pin lock. And they come in this nice little helmet box. So you open it up. We're just gonna pop this out. I bought this a couple days ago and have been waiting to make this video. So in the meantime, when I've been riding my bike, I've been wearing my old helmet. That's how much I respect and love you guys, is that I wait to wear my brand new lid until you can see it so it doesn't have all the bugs on it. Again, these are handmade in Japan. Guess what color I got? The only color they had in stock. The diamond white with the sparkles on it. It's pretty sparkly. Now the Contour X is a new helmet to the United States. It's been in Europe for about 4 years. They introduced it to us 2 years ago. This one meets the current Snell 2025 standards and of course DOT. In the European Union, it meets the 26 standards for helmets. It is a wonderful helmet. And I want you to notice something. The shape, here's my helmet I bought in 2008, nearly 20 years ago. And they are pretty similar. You don't see a huge amount of change. You don't have all the ridges and the things going on around here. You have a bit of a lip here, and that's about it. But otherwise, they're the same shape. And that's because Arai believes that this shape, when you're falling on your head, it because of the roundness of it, it rolls your head off. So it makes it so that you're not catching on the road and breaking your neck. It just rolls off the road. So you kind of glide that way. You know, you're not hitting and crashing. You hit it and just continue to slide. It's very similar to this. You can see that the difference here is not that different in the styling. New for Arai this year is previously, now I'm going to go look. The sticker on here is either a sticker or it was clear coated over. On the new Contour, this is a 3D emblem. And what is interesting about this is actually a center air vent. And the weird thing about this helmet is when the lever is down, it is open. When it clicks up, it's closed. These little teeny cat ears, same with the other Arai. Very easy to open. Look at that. It's just click, 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 click. No problem. You know, and this is a brand new helmet compared to that Shoei, where it's quite difficult to slide these. It's because there's and they work good, but they are so difficult to open and close. Whereas this, super easy. So you have that of course you have the eyebrow vents, and the shield is a little bit interesting because it just slides up and down, and it has 3. There's an intermediate, but it just slides up and down. The rear of the helmet. Some people dislike this. I didn't care. I thought it was fine, but they've added this little duck bill. Looks like a 50s hairdo kind of thing. This little Contour is adapted off their top of the line Corsair race helmet, where you can get one of these added to it for speed. Now, am I going to be riding fast enough that I'm going to need that downdraft for my helmet not to lift? I'm not going to tell you. Similar with the pods, same pods as we have here. These are a little bit newer design. The face shield mechanism is interesting. It has this little lever. Before you did not have a little lever. It was kind of difficult. One of the annoying things about Arai is the closure of the shield. But essentially you push down. See? Oh, it's already open. You push down like that. If you push down on it, it cracks it. Then what you do is you pull it forward and then it goes up. And there's no ratcheting, you can tell. There's no concrete notch that it goes into. It just does it. And I found that it stays open. I mean, if you're going triple digits, it might not stay in that position. It might blow open, but I haven't had that experience. Compared to the Shoei, which again, they still make this model. When you open it, you close it here and there's a button you push and you open it and it is notchy. See how it has a notch. You can hear it's audible. Which do I like better? I was used to this system for 20 years before I got this helmet. So I kind of prefer this helmet system a little bit better. It's really not an issue on either one. The inside, this was like putting a pillow on your head. Now there was a couple things that I disliked about this, and that is that the chin curtain is permanently affixed. The Shoei came with one that I removed. The other ones has that pull down one. This one is permanently affixed. Now, how's that going to affect me and my giant beard, or the fact that I put a camera up here? It's flexible. It's not going to hurt anything. Apparently, Arai F1400 on his channel, he just ripped this out. I think he did a video about getting CO2 poisoning in your helmet or something like that. This is a fantastic helmet. In the back under here, you have the open and close. There's 3 settings. You have 2 passive. Sorry, I'm showing this off camera. You have 3 settings on the vents here in the back under the little ducktail. You have 2 pass vents that let out hot air, and of course you have 3 more down here on the neck roll. And so there are channels built inside the helmet that you can see, like for here, the eyebrow vents go inside this and it shoots up into the helmet. And same with the vents here and the vents here and the vents here. So what do we got here? We've got 1 vent here, the 2 here, the 2 here, the 2 here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 vents going in, and I believe 6 vents going out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have not ridden on this yet. I wore it in the store, and when you're testing helmets on in the store, leave them on your head for 10 minutes at least. See if there's any hot spots or anything. That's how I test helmets. When I tested this helmet, I wore it in the store for a half hour. And again, I don't think I told you what I paid for this. I think I paid about $500 for this. After everything was said and done on this helmet, I paid about a little over $700 for this. Expensive. You go from $300 to $336 to the Defiant, which was $500. This was $500. This bopped up to $700. But everything is expensive right now. You know that, I know that. And, I am not a well-off man by any means, but I do believe in buying quality protection, especially if you're riding motorcycles. I believe in buying quality, the best quality you can afford. Are there more expensive helmets? Yes, it was between this and the Corsair. I could have ordered the Corsair online for $770. However, the Corsair has a very different airflow dynamic. This is designed for sport touring and touring riders, whereas the Corsair is designed to be in a racing crouch with your head forward. And so this apparently, especially with this vent, brings in, I think they said 30 to 40% more air going normal street speeds, 30, 40 miles an hour than the Corsair does. And so I'm looking forward to wearing this in the summer. Of course, all helmets are hot in the summer. We try to say, hey, this helmet has this many vents and this one has this many vents, and it keeps you cool. I'm sorry, if you're in the South, if you're in Death Valley, it's 120 degrees. That's another reason to get a white helmet, to not absorb that heat. You're gonna be hot and sweaty in your helmet, no matter what. Gentlemen, this video's gone far too long. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down below. I love my Arai. I like my Shoei. The other helmets I've tried on in the past, I've tried on some Cuthberts. That was a fantastic helmet, but I don't see them around here very often. In fact, I couldn't find one at all, so I did not try one on, although I have tried them on when I was trying these on in the past, and they were really nice helmets, but they were twice as much as these back in the day. I've tried on some of the Korean helmets, the HJCs. They're fine. They make some really good helmets. The new Bell, high-end Bells are nice. There's a lot of retro helmets available out there. There are a million different helmets out there. I wouldn't, again, I try not to buy Chinese-made helmets, but I'm sure there's someone out there that says, hey, I've got a Chinese-made helmet. It's really nice. But I tell you what, putting on an Arai for me is literally like putting your head in a pillow. The Shoei is almost up there, but when I put this on, it was like I was coming home. And if you're on the road, and you've been on the road for several days, several weeks, and you're gonna put on your helmet again for another 8 to 10 to 12, 14-hour ride, I wanna have my head feel like it is at home rather than visiting whatever far off flung place that I'm at. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you watch this long, thanks. Most of you nod out after a few minutes. And so I appreciate you watching until the end. Keep safe out there. Keep riding. I thought I had something more to say.